Nope, just going right into it. And we are live. Welcome to the Venus Lounge, the #1 podcast in the galaxy dedicated to working mothers, moms, women. Working mothers are moms, I guess, right? Women trying to find balance, trying to find joy, our creativity, our autonomy, and still just be happy with what we do and what kind of energy we bring into the space. I'm your host, Renee Moncada. I am a spiritual being first, a creator second. I'm a mother, a wife, and I'm your sister friend. And I'm here to be your cheerleader in the corner going, all right, sis, do that. Go ahead, sis. I'm with you. I just like to bring energy and joy. I try and find energy in whatever it is I'm doing, and I find the joy in it. And there will always be somebody over there taking it for granted. But it's okay because I am creation and I am a creator. And so I'm just happy that you're here. Every Thursday, this is where you'll find me on Facebook Live at It's the Venus Lounge and on YouTube at It's the Venus Lounge Podcast. And now you can catch me, well, not now, next week. It was supposed to be last week, but they said, Renee, you got to stop drinking and cussing. On KPFA radio, I promise y'all it's coming. But they said no wine, no cussing. And so it's been 3 weeks. And so I'm not on there yet, but I'm working my way. But anyway, next week you can catch me on KPFA 94.1 on YouTube. I'm sorry, on Facebook and Instagram, 94.1, KPFA 94.1 on Instagram and Facebook, and KPFA radio on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch TV. And I promised you it's coming. I got to stop cussing.
That's
so,
right.
So, and so I'm just happy to be here. Like I said, I am a creator. I bring the good energy, and I just love being here every week. And I'm so just ecstatic and over the moon today. I'd like to introduce and welcome my very special guest, Karen Seneferu, the creator and curator of The Black Woman is God, also an educator and activist. Welcome to the Venus Lounge.
I am so honored to be here with you, my goddess friend.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to start off by saying, okay, first of all, I've learned much from you. I think about you all the time, and I still have your necklace in my office, and you're not getting it back because every time I look at you, my heart warms. And I learned so much from you and just met a group of phenomenal women working on The Black Woman is God. And I just told her before the live stream started that she got me all hooked on her and like close and like got me all like bonded. And then I didn't see you for 2 years.
Yes, we both had that experience.
That was a wonderful experience.
It was a powerful experience. It really was, Renee. And if I haven't thanked you, I want to say that I want to thank you deeply, deeply for that experience. It was phenomenal just to see what you could manifest all by yourself and then bring us into your space to make the possibility for all the work that was done in that project. That was one major
It was
project.
fun. It wasn't even work. It was fun. I had so much fun. And just, for those of you coming in, let's just start by explaining what the Black Woman is God. The Black Woman is God is.
Sure. The Black Woman is God is an exhibition. It's an annual exhibition that showcases somewhere between 30 to 80 Black women artists, primarily in the Bay Area, but not just the Bay Area, where they exhibit artwork, and that can range from sculpture to paintings to live performance. It's also has a workshop component to it. So we have a genealogy project in it that's run by Tarika Lewis, the first female to join the Black Panther Party. And that's really important because she is also a family member of LL Cool J and helped Dr. Henry Louis Gates
Oh my God, I want to meet him.
discover that Todd's grandparents were not, in fact, his blood grandparents. So
Ooh,
through
it
that,
comes out
right,
through the DNA. Don't the blood
it's
don't lie.
amazing. And also, I discovered that she's my cousin as well through the genealogy project.
Wow.
So, what one of the things that we found through her particular workshop
Yep,
is that
comes with that.
blood seeks blood.
Blood seeks blood. And
So the Black Woman's God is really about that. It's about finding ways to create space for Black women who are emerging artists, maybe veteran artists, who also are in the same space with a well-known artists, luminaries. And so it creates access and opportunity.
it definitely did, especially for me, and brought me, there's some artists who I never even heard of. And I'm like, why don't I know about Harmonio Rosales?
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Why do I not know about Zap Mama? Like there were
Yes.
different. So you just put me up on so many artists, and the relationships that we cultivated during that time for me was a very rough time because I was going through some things with some friends that I had for a long time. I think you
Yeah.
told, so there was a big void in my life in terms of the friendship, because I think we create what we need. And for me, creating this platform was about womanshipping, fellowshipping.
Yeah.
And I discovered that was a necessary component in my life when women get together, especially mothers, because when you become a mother, the alchemy that happens, something happens, and the power is just different, And so when I'm around other powerful, not just mothers, but women, I feel energy. I feel supported. And so you guys just kind of came in, and we were having sessions here and talking and eating our watermelon and our salads. And so I just really appreciate that. So can we talk about your background, just kind of before the Black Woman is God, briefly? I know we only have an hour, but how you got to that, how you got to the Black Woman is God.
Well, it's kind of an interesting journey. I think first, I was a student at UC Berkeley studying English, and I was claiming my body in public. Yeah, I had shaved off all my hair.
Wow.
And I had, necklaces, that I wore. I would wear 10, 12 necklaces around my neck, and I would wear African garb and things like that. And I realized the power that would bring me when I would be in public. And I recognized that it's very important for people to claim themselves in public, and particularly Black women, because the public space has also oftentimes been a place of humiliation for a Black female body, for the Black body in general, but Black women in particular. And so people would always ask me if I was an artist. And I couldn't figure out why that was, because I had painted, I hadn't drawn or sculpted or anything like that. And then much later, after I met my husband, Malik Seneferu, he was actually the first person that said, "You are an artist." Others would ask me if I was an artist, but he said, "You are an artist." And I asked him, like, "Well, how do you know that?" And he said, "Well, look around your home." I was living in Berkeley at the time. And he said, "Your whole home is an altar." And I didn't even know what that word meant at the time. Here I was an English major, and I didn't know what that word meant as a spiritual practice. And I was living it, but I didn't recognize the meaning of that word. And it was really through him that I was able to pull out this need to create something outside of my physical body. I wanted to create something that was beyond myself. And so I started with these really small figuratives and covered them in beans and rice and beads, and made these, what I called sacred dolls, not really dolls, not playthings, but some people call them fetishes, and that word can be very problematic. But That's initially how I started to create. And it's through those figuratives that I started to come in contact with a very large Black art community that I didn't even know existed in the Bay Area. And that was through the Art of Living Black that was co-curated by Ray Louise Hayward. And it's really going to those exhibitions, seeing somewhere between 80 and 100 Black artists in the same room really shaped me. I absorbed a lot of creativity. And then when I started creating myself and was given an opportunity to show at the AAACC, the African American Art and Cultural Complex, that's really when I came in contact with Melora Green, Melanie Green.
Love her. And she brought energy too. Oh my God, we clicked. We were like, yes. Love her. She's got to come on. Okay, so go ahead.
And London Breed, who was Mayor London Breed, who was at the time the executive director, and both Melora and the mayor had asked me to do a solo show at the AAACC.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't feel comfortable about doing that. And this was right around 2012. I didn't feel comfortable about doing that. And the reason why, live broadcasting. Sorry, guys.
It's all right.
That's my honey bunny.
Hey, honey bunny. We got to reserve some space for our husbands too.
That's right.
We'll talk about Malik, but why didn't you feel comfortable?
Well, because of my relationship with the Art of Living Black, and knowing that there were these veteran artists, these artists that had been creating, and who had inspired me, and I hadn't seen them receive a solo exhibition, so I turned it down. And what I said that I wanted to do instead was an exhibition where these artists could be, I could share space with these same artists. And that's really how the Black Women's God emerged, creating opportunity and spaces for others.
So you mentioned something about power when you changed your physical appearance. What was that power that you discovered or maybe had known at one time?
I really believe it was the claiming of my African identity in a way that hadn't been done before. Because I had a perm, and I had done that whole thing and read Malcolm X's autobiography, and that really compelled me to grow my hair out. I covered it up and started growing my hair out, and then eventually I went and shaved it off. I went into a beauty shop and had them shave it off. And this young woman kept saying to me, "You sure you don't want a light relaxer?"
Girl, no. You see all them class action lawsuits on Facebook now. Did you have a perm between 2012 and 2019? It may cause ovarian cancer. And I mean, come on, you burn, your scalp is burning. I stopped perming my hair. Actually, when the flat iron came along, there was no need. But even after that, just putting the heat on your hair. But who perms their hair anymore?
Anyway, well, this was definitely, it's more like
guess who just joined our live really quick? Talia Taylor, one of the performers in the cipher, in the God Code cipher.
God Code cipher. Yes. Hey, sis.
Hey, Talia. So for those of you just joining, we have Karen Seneferu here, creator, activist, educator of The Black Woman is God. And I should have put lower thirds, but I didn't do it. I will do it next time and on the rebroadcast. My apologies.
No problem.
Okay, so we were talking about the perm, your hair when you change your identity.
And then claiming myself, through African garb, through beading, and it was phenomenal because I had people coming up to me, and I say speaking to me in a language I had forgotten, and they would just, they would speak to me in an African language, and then they would say, Masai, right? And I would go, Masai, yes.
Yeah, Masai.
And so it happened so often. I said, okay, I have to find out who these people are.
I'm sorry, what?
Sure.
Huh? The name of the live? Oh, it says Tess. I'll change it afterwards. It's fine. Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. And so I ended up meeting the writer of actually the photojournalism catalog on the Maasais. someone brought him to my table. This was years, after wearing my hair in this way.
Mm-hmm.
And someone brought him to a table where I was at, this very large conference. And they asked me, like, do you know who this man is? I'm like, no, I have no idea who this man. He said, this is the man that wrote the book Masai. And I said, you mean with the African on the cover with the profile of his face? He said, yeah, that's my brother. And on the back is my sister. And I looked at him and I said, well, I think I'm Masai. And he looked at me this way and that way. And then he said, yeah, you are Masai. And then he pulled out a picture of his wife. His wife looked like me, and his son looked like my husband's son. So,
blood seeks blood.
Blood seeks blood.
And you wear your scarves, your shawls like Masai.
Yes.
Every time I see you, you have them cross the whole body. Your arms are bound like so.
Yes. Yes. So it's been a powerful thing to claim myself, and I continue to do that because in part I want young women to recognize there's other ways to present themselves in public.
What do you think about how Black women are presenting themselves these days?
Well, I think there's a shift. I think there's a desire for something different than they've been given, or then they've digested. And and primarily it's the weave, the eyelashes, showing off the body in a way that will draw attention and focus. And I believe they think that that's beautiful. Do you? I believe it's a way to get attention. I don't even know if it seems to me it's a surpass beauty. Well, I don't think it's beauty, but I think they think it's beauty. And I think that they believe that that is the kind of beauty that will get them the attention because it has elements of how white society has said these are representations, these are bits and pieces of beauty. So, I mean, in some ways they're grabbing these parts, like Frankenstein. Is there a way that if we were to ask that same question, decentralizing white people and their standards of what beauty is, that could still exist true for us? Is there? I think that we would do something different. Yeah. If whiteness was decentralized, I think that we would. What about men? The men's opinion of that? I think men follow women. Right. So if the women change the way in which they were presenting themselves, then the men will feel it's confusing for them. Yeah, confusing for the men. And it's dangerous to say that because we live in a culture where men are dominating, and it could be dangerous for women. But I agree with you in terms of women setting the cues and men picking up and being confused about that, because we do set the tone for a space. Like, what is your space dictates? Space dictates meaning. Yes. And so I could see how, but if we were to say that, I think a lot of times for Black women, it's hard to call us out on stuff, because you got to really, and we're the only ones I think who can do that. And certainly I'm not calling those out who don't know, but I'm saying that once we become aware, we're talking about, consciousness, we're talking about a recognition of something new. So for example, a young woman about 19, 20 years old stopped me one day and she said, "Oh, hey, what is that style you have? What's it called?" And I went, that style? And that's so me. Individuality. Right. In my mind, I was like, what is she asking? Right. And so I said, it's called African diaspora. And she went, what? I said, it's called a mix of African and Black style together. And she says, well, how do you get it? And I said, you just take the weave and the eyelashes off. Right? You just pull the things that you like, the colors you like, the material you like, just integrate it. Intuition. Some of it's intuition too. Like you said, you just are drawn to certain things. And so that's interesting. So she was like, what is that? Yeah, she wanted that. And so I do recognize that there are young women, particularly young women, who see it and respond to it. Yes. Because they haven't seen it before. I think it's just a question of, what you don't see.
It's true. If everyone is doing it, then, especially with the social medias and the internets, everyone kind of looks the same to me on certain level. And then you have individuals who are just creating their own styles and their own looks. So let's go back to the Black women as God, and the statement of that. What do you say? I know I remember watching a previous interview. You were talking about this is not just something that I feel. This is actually, there's scientific evidence that presents this. Talk about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's the narrative of Henrietta Lacks, whose DNA is the only DNA that can produce cures for the human race. White women, white women's DNA doesn't do that. Asian women's DNA doesn't do that. And it was this, taking this sliver, ironically, of a cancerous cell that was used, and then through the Hopkins
John Hopkins University hospital,
and used as a tool to replicate over and over again to establish cures for people all over the world. And her DNA is the only one that has done that. And so
no monument, no statue, nothing. I didn't even know about it until the movie. And watched how they did her family, and just how the world is making billions of dollars, the pharmaceutical industry and the hospitals, off her one gene that's still living, reproducing, and probably is in everyone who has a vaccine. Part of her is inside of everyone.
Yes,
that's crazy.
That's a very good point.
That's crazy. She's like immortal.
Yes,
basically. So when you talk about the embodiment of what the God-like spirit is, that's exactly it.
Absolutely.
It's saving lives, it's regenerating, it's living in everyone, and you're not going to get paid for it. You know what I mean? You're going to sacrifice. You feel like that is the epitome of what it is.
Of a God spirit. Yes.
You just going to do it to save humanity and be happy about it. Like, dang, she can't win. But so that part, the Henrietta Lacks and the cells that were regenerating, and so that do you have to pull that out sometimes? Do people ever challenge you about that statement?
Actually, no. I think there's been only one instance where I had a young man at the first exhibition at So March that asked me about the scientific relationship of the Black woman as God. But on the most part, I'm not challenged by that. That narrative is not challenged. I think people are, to some degree, are uncomfortable about it. And certainly within the Black community, where, God is still a man. But on the other hand, the exhibition brings out all kinds of folks. And so we had the Reverend from Allen's Temple come out, his son and his daughter. They were at the last exhibition in 2018, when we actually had people who were face to face inside the exhibition. So they wanted to see like what we were talking about and how this is connected to, broader discussions that need to be had in the Black community, which is not to devalue or dehumanize or erase, Black men's contributions as a spiritual being, but it's also to acknowledge the contributions that Black women have made to humanity, and that is being, the first human being on the planet, which makes her a God spirit, and also, people like Henrietta Lacks, but also the extent to which, what is God? God is good, and Black women are some of the best human beings that I know in the world. And they give so much, and they love so much, and they love people
hard
in the community and outside of it. And so I can't define Black women any other way than to call them God spirits.
100 every pickle that I was in, literal and physical, like metaphysical situation that's happened to me in my life where I need a Black woman was there behind me. Like I always say, there's always a good behind every man is a good woman, and behind every woman is another Black woman. That's no, I'm serious. Like that makes me a better woman, a stronger woman. And I look around my circle, whether it's my mother, my sisters, my friends, those are the people that lift me up and give me strength, so I can be a better wife, a better mother, a better sister.
But I think also it's really important for us to also acknowledge that not all Black women, we're not saying all Black women are super beings or super heroic.
No.
We also know the struggles that Black women have because of that recognition as well.
Right.
And also the extent to which the social conditions in the society have caused womb wounds, and the extent to which we need to heal from that. And so for this year, the Black Womanist God is going to be focusing on mother and motherhood and the healing of the mother womb. So in that sense, it's really going back and looking at our mothers, our grandmothers, our great grandmothers. I'm at the point now where I've found up to 4 generations of grandmothers.
You're rich.
And with four specific distinct names. So I haven't found the 4th.
Your altar must be off the hook.
Oh,
your altar is off the oh my God. You can have anything you want at this point. You calling them names.
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited.
That is
yes.
To
I
know
have Tarika Lewis to thank for that.
So I want to know Tarika Lewis. So
the
genealogy, it was through the genealogy.
It's through her genealogy workshop.
And they are looking for us. Do you understand? They want to make connection. This is happening right now. When you set those altars up and you're venerating your ancestors and you know their names, just think how powerful, like my children's children will know me and my mother, like 3 generations. You know how powerful that is? I don't think I didn't realize how powerful it was until I started praying to my altar and knowing my grandmother's name and her mother's name and hearing them talk to me when I'm walking past it or I'm cooking and I'm like, okay, put me some sweet potatoes on that altar. Okay. Just out the blue, Wow.
Yes. So calling on those names, seeing the pictures. I also want to give thanks to Regina Calloway because she's also a part of the genealogy project. She's worked with Tarika Lewis. She has her own specific genealogy workshop.
Oh, I would love to have them on the podcast.
Oh, that would be so exciting.
Let's do this.
Let's make it happen.
Okay, we will
make this happen.
Okay.
Yeah, we called it in.
Yay! She's coming back. So Tarika Lewis and Regina Calloway.
Yes, and Regina Calloway is Sway's brother.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Wow. What a gift to have.
It's amazing.
So what are their names and where are they from?
Oh,
and are they on your mom's side or your dad's side?
Okay. I have a list of their names. The list is not with me. I did not bring it.
It's okay.
But it's on both my mother and father's side.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And so
let me just mention my father, whose name is King David Caraway Jr.
What a name. King David
Caraway Jr. Now, what that meant was my grandfather, Isaac Caraway.
Isaac Newton.
Who was born into slavery.
Okay.
Named his son King David Caraway so that white people would have to call him
King David
Caraway.
Wow.
It just I said, why would
you're gonna address my son as such?
Yes.
Who has the nerve to even do that back then? Like, yes.
And so the picture of him is so phenomenal.
Oh, you have photos?
I have a photo of Isaac. He's sitting down.
So this
in almost like an African like chair, and his wife is standing over him, and she has a satchel.
A mojo bag. A mojo bag. She had a mojo bag.
I was like, okay.
A mojo bag is something that you carry usually under your clothing that has certain things that are
Mm.
meant to draw energy and keep, or only you know,
Yes.
and that are there to protect you. Everyone has specific things. My grandmother used to have one, and she kept it in a sock, and she pinned it in the inside of
Oh,
her shirt. And I didn't even know what it was until later I understood those
yes.
things. And she had one. Wow. So she had it in the
She
photo.
had it in the photo, and I was like, okay, this is interesting because I do these sculptural pieces called technokisi, and
Ethno
it's
Kesey.
related to the Nkisi, or I should say Minkisis out of the Congo Basin, which are these wooden sculptures
Mm-hmm.
that have nails all around them and a box in the
Mm-hmm.
center.
Mm-hmm.
And in that box, it's covered by a mirror, and then there's these sacred components that are hidden inside of the box. So what I did was I tried to kind of reverse it in some ways, turn the box inside out by placing technology in the center. So when you look into the box, instead of there being a mirror, there was, imagery, and it would be images of people's eyes or some kind of
Wow,
narrative.
that's deep.
And then I would take the sacred pieces and put them in little satchels and cover the entire figure with those.
I would
And
love to
so
see. So where's this work? What do you what
I've exhibited this work, but it's in storage. You
God. The one, let's talk about some of your artwork. Um I don't know of many because you just don't even talk about it. A lot of times it'll just be something that comes out in conversation. But the one photograph of you standing next to a large continent of Africa
yeah,
and it had a telephone attached to it.
yeah.
Tell me about that piece and what happened in that interactive piece of art.
Yeah, well, that particular piece, in some ways, is along the lines of an Nkisi, but on a larger scale. It
Mm-hmm.
also had a mirror in it. That piece is 8 by 10 feet. It has over 2,000 pieces of cut wood that I cut individually and glued onto the piece, and then attached a vintage phone to it so that people could pick it up and hear voices. And the voices that were online were of Black men and women in court, challenging, who were supposed to be interviewed by the prosecutor and their lawyer, asking them questions about who their children were. And instead, the parents went off script and started speaking directly with the police officers that killed their children,
Mm.
and they started demanding to know why they had killed their son or
And
daughter.
these were on the phone, on the
And
recording,
that
on the
was on the
art piece.
phone, yeah. And so it was an interactive piece, and also kind of a performance piece, because I would sit in front of the piece with and I would had my head covered in a big long gown, and I would call people over, and they would be very excited, that they were chosen. And then I would give them the phone, and they did listen to the voices, and then their faces would change.
Mm-hmm.
And then depending on who the person was, I would then point to the crystal bell that was on the end of the continent on the north side. No, sorry, on the west side. And I would tell them to ring the bell, and that really was the telephone. So that was the calling of the ancestors to be in the
Wow.
space at that moment,
And calling them in the space,
and
because when
calling
you ask
them.
for stuff, be
Yes.
careful what you ask for because you have to be ready to receive the responsibility that may
Yes.
come with that information or that.
Yes.
So when they rang that, you literally rung their bell. That's where that saying comes from.
And
Let
that
me
piece
ring you
was
up.
that piece was called "Call Your Mama."
Call your mama. I love that. And so, are you working on any new pieces for the next?
Yeah, yeah, I do. Part of the reason why I love the exhibition is that I can always create for it as well. And so I'm working on a piece right now of my grandson that's 46 by 72. It's a portrait of my grandson,
Mm-hmm.
um, who's just such a phenomenal human being, very self-possessed, and behind this large drawing are prayers. And
Oh
so
wow.
I designed it in such a way that it looks like the first piece of paper you were given as a child, in kindergarten or first grade. So it looks like that kind of paper.
Right, the big lines.
The big lines,
Yeah, the
yes.
big line
And
lower.
so behind it, it begins with "I will win." I will
that's
win.
right.
And then it
You're
goes
already
on
winning.
to other wheels. And because I'm
Wow.
a Leo, and my incantation is about willing things into being, I wanted something that would connect to anytime someone read the 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 script, they're praying for him. They're
Right.
praying for his safety. They're
That's
praying
right.
for his success. They're praying for him to live longer than myself, his father, my mother. Making sure that he dies, that when he transition is in the proper trajectory and order.
Right. The proper time.
Yes.
Proper time. And a lot of us pray for material things, but
Yeah.
pray on your life right now.
Yeah, I prayed for him to travel. I prayed
Right.
for him to have
Protection.
great friends. I
Mhm.
prayed for him, to have the kind of creativity and opportunities that he
Opportunity,
wants. All of
creativity,
that.
opening doors, things that
Yes.
really make life have more meaning. Because those
Yes.
material things are nothing.
And he can get that himself.
All any day, all
Yeah.
day. Just go to Amazon.
Yeah. So this really about, it's like what it was Kendrick Lamar said, his grandmother had passed. He said, "Nobody's praying for me."
Right.
Right. So
Ain't
it's
nobody
really
praying for me.
along those lines that the writing
And
is,
really do it, because we say that I'm gonna pray for you. Black people be, I'm gonna pray
Yes.
for you on Facebook, and I'm like, okay, what are we praying for? We don't even know what we're praying, who we're praying for, what the person. People sometimes will just put pray for me, and I'll be like, okay,
Yes.
I take my prayers very seriously. No, I do, and I
Yes,
need
I get
specifics.
it.
So first of all, call me and let me know what the prayer is. And who I'm praying for, what their name is, and what I'm praying for.
Yes.
So I can be very specific about it, because I really take my prayers and intentions seriously, even as far as writing them down, lighting candles. So when you say pray for me, like, you really have to take a moment and do that.
Yes.
It's not just like, I'm gonna pray for you.
Well, I think with this particular piece, I want mothers, sons, daughters to walk away with, I recognize that face. I recognize his stare. I recognize that desire. I want that for me.
I want that for me.
I want that for my
Prayers
son.
are contagious.
Yes.
You can know what to pray for sometimes too, just by like, oh, I'm hearing that,
Yes.
praying for peace and protection. So let's talk about the Black Woman is God. I remember we were talking on the phone, and you said that this year you're not having it in the museum, but you're going to have it in the community, where the art is coming to the people as opposed to the people not coming to the art.
Right. Yeah. So the Black Woman is God has been really fortunate in that it's one, I think, of a few exhibitions where the community had come to.
And where is
the
that
gallery
for people who don't know?
I'm sorry.
It was coming at the
Soma Arts.
For how many?
5 years. We were
milestone.
with Soma Arts for 5 years, and people would come out of, Bayview, Hunters Point, East Oakland, Palo Alto, Los Angeles. People would come to this exhibition, and that was really powerful testament to the project. But we've run our course with Soma Arts, and I really appreciate Marie Jensen and Catalina and Matt and all those folks over there. But it's time for us to move on. And the space that we're in right now is Rafiki Wellness. And so I'm very excited about being there. I spoke with Dr. Monique Lassar, who runs the clinic over there. It's a clinic, but the clinic is so large that it holds the space for 30 or 40 visual artists. And so we're really excited about that. So we can exhibit visual arts, we can exhibit films. There's also partnering with Bayview Opera House, and the possibility of partnering with the San Francisco Library as well. But what we're really interested in is bringing art to the community in a way that hasn't been done before in Bayview, Hunters Point,
right?
And doing it in a similar fashion to the Black Arts Movement, where
will you have the procession?
we're definitely.
Can you tell
having
everyone about this?
the
So this is
procession.
Karen Seneferu for the Black Women's God. We're doing it in San Francisco, right? This year
Yes.
at the Rafiki Wellness Center. Tell us about the procession.
So
'cause that is
the procession really emerged out of Melora Green, who was the co-curator of the exhibition. She will not be a part of the Black Women's God this year. I know her capacity as the executive director with her sister at the AAACC has shifted possibilities. But the procession came about as a way of mourning initially Black men who had been killed by police, and then started to develop into a more celebratory procession. So that one year we had the 100 Black women dressed in white, and then another year we had the second line. And so
familiar with Second Line. Go to New Orleans all the time. Love it.
So this year we're going to have an Afrofuturist
oh my God,
component to it. And I'm really looking, really excited about bringing back the procession, because of course we lost that with the pandemic.
I'm looking forward to that too. And speaking of Black men, we are both married to one. I've been married 25 years. Bless his heart. Yeah, 25 years. How about you?
I've been together with my husband for 22 years. And he'll probably say, no, it's 23, because he's better at the numbers than I am. And then we've been married, I believe, for 19 years.
That one year you were still trying to decide. You didn't have it in the bag. That's what it is.
Come on now.
That's what it is. You say 22, I'm saying 23.
Yeah.
And so,
yes, I just love my husband, man. I mean, the Black Women's God really, I don't think would exist without him.
That's right.
And I anytime I can say that, until I get the mic to talk about the Black Women's God, I bring up my husband. I like to give a shout out. Shout out to Malik Seneferu.
Very supportive.
I'm going to say Malik Haru Jawanza Seneferu, the King God, great counselor.
Oh, okay, because he goes home and just listens, huh? You just think
no, I don't even do him that way, because the whole community is doing that.
I do
all day.
That is true.
Yeah,
that
and so
true.
I have to remind myself. That when he comes in, he really does need peace, because he's absorbed so much.
That's true.
He's a great artist, but he's also a great activist, and those his art and activism, they are intertwined. And that's the kind of work that he does.
Right. Yes, I appreciate that. My husband and I have been married. Well, we've been together 30 years then, if you don't count the 5 years.
That's right, you got to do that.
That we were together. I just said married now. I didn't say everything else. But we had a really great week, because we finally built an addition onto our house. We were living in a small 3-bedroom house, but spacious. Like, we live on a nicer part of land, but the house was, small, with our 3 children and sharing one bathroom with 2 daughters and my husband. And it was been rough. And so we finally got the addition done, and we slept in the room last night for the first time on the other side of the house.
Yes.
Built a deck, looking at trees.
Yes.
And I was just like, now this is how
this is living.
And then I had to keep myself from getting mad, because I was like, but it took this long for me to get my own bathroom. I had to I was like, okay, back up, Renee. Back up. I was like, I've been missing out, sharing a bathroom with 2 daughters, teenage daughters. I came home and cleaned the bathtub out with Fabuloso and got it all cleaned and cleaned around the toilet and wiped the toothpaste off the mirror and the nail polish off the floor. And I get and sit on the toilet. There's 2 sheets of toilet paper. That's my life as a mom.
I get that.
And I'd
get that.
Oh, it would just, and I don't ask for a lot, but that's like, this brings me into my next segment. This is my next segment. And I want you to finish the sentence for me.
Okay.
Hold on. So the segment is Motherhood Be Like. and I want you to finish it. Do you want me to go first, or
you go first? And
no, you go. You
okay,
go
I'm
first.
ready.
You're
I'm
the
ready.
guest.
I got it right
Okay,
here.
so motherhood be like
pulling down a roll of tissue in the middle of the night to put onto that empty brown paper roll. That's how
one tissue left.
What just and it's wrapped around.
And what do you do?
As if to say there's some
you can use
that.
You could do something with that.
Yeah,
right. Knowing that you could have went out and replaced the toy.
Oh, I got another one.
Go ahead.
Okay. Mother be like, yeah, you might have 7 teaching jobs, but I still would like dinner when you get home,
right?
Even though I'm not your husband.
Oh, that's your son.
Mother
be like mama wife.
Like you. Oh, somebody wants 2 wives in this house. Huh?
Mama wife. Motherhood be like telling your daughter when she goes to school and it's picture day, I'm gonna put this scarf on your head. Even though I don't know why in schools they take pictures in the afternoon.
Right.
I'm gonna send you to school, put this scarf on your hair, don't take it off until the pictures get ready to get taken. Mm-hmm. Motherhood be like when you get the pictures back, she still got the scarf on. What is going on? The teacher didn't even take the scarf off. I'm like, oh, we Muslim now.
She only heard one part. She only heard one
Don't
part.
Take it off.
Don't take it off.
I got the pictures back, and she had the 2 ponytails that were going up like this, and she put the scarf. So the scarf, it wasn't even the scarf wouldn't even wrap cute. I wouldn't even be mad about a scarf, but it had 2 ponytails over the scarf like this, and the scarf was pink. It was just
like mother be like, I heard you, Mom.
Motherhood be like, I got one more for you. Motherhood be like, if they checking for lice at school, tell your teacher Black kids don't get lice, and I do not want her to take them plaits out. Leave them braids in and find a Black teacher in the school who can attest for this. So motherhood be like braiding your daughter's hair all night, and then they had a lice check, and she came home with all the plaits out. Man. And then the next year,
the Black, a long list.
The Black teacher emailed him. She said, I got her, girl.
I got
her. That's motherhood. Motherhood be like, and that concludes the segment, unless you have another one.
One more.
Okay, go. Oh, please.
Motherhood be like,
go ahead.
I'm going to leave you this little corner of ketchup.
Ooh, hot sauce, orange juice, anything.
Right, anything. And I'm going to turn it upside down to show you I appreciate you.
I'm going to leave you one drop.
I'm going to leave you one drop.
Yeah, just to swallow. Just so motherhood be like, leave you something just enough so you can't say anything, but not enough to be satisfied.
But don't say nothing to me.
But don't say nothing to me because you're a mom. Yes. You don't need anything. You're
sure
God. Remember, you don't need to eat. You don't need to
rise above.
Rise above it. Wow. Yes, these are the things. These are the things that we go through. This is why you say we contribute a lot.
We do.
We sacrifice a lot. You know. Just anyone who is mothering too. I don't want to alienate women who physically have not given birth to children. Women bring their energy into a space of nurturing, of taking care of things. We just bring a different energy, and it can be exhausting. My husband would be like, "Why y'all sleeping so much?" You know, when me and my daughters are home, we like to sleep. We're recharging.
Right.
Him and my son be gone on the testosterone at the gym running here, but you don't realize how much you give to the world.
Yeah, that's going to shift for him.
Say what?
It's going to shift for him. Just wait.
Say it again. Say
it's going to shift for him.
Okay.
And those Saturdays, both of you will be in bed
in our new room, in the new ring.
Afternoon. Yes, that's going to shift.
I'm ready, girl. It's all kind of shifting going on. I was like, okay, wait a minute. You look cute in this new room. Wait, hold on. I'm looking at the ceiling at a different spot this time.
Come on now.
Okay, wait a minute now. Somebody might, don't get me started. But yes, motherhood be like getting your rest because my cells need to regenerate.
Yeah, that's real.
So tell me about the date of the Black Women as God When is it this year?
So it's happening in August. We don't have a specific date yet, but stay tuned. There's a lot of information that's going to be coming out very soon about who will be our guest speakers, who will have for performance, and what workshops we're going to have. So just stay tuned.
Yes, I can't wait. And it's going to be, so this will be the first one after the pandemic.
The first one after the pandemic, the 10th anniversary.
10th anniversary.
Which is an incredible
So
feat.
did you have 2 or 1 during the pandemic?
We had remember 2.
Okay, so I came to the Reconfigure, Remember.
Yes.
And then there was another one after that.
Yes, there was another one after that.
Gotcha. And so how did you come up with a theme? Is it okay to call it a theme?
It's always a theme. We always have a theme for each year. And it came about really because there were people close to me that were losing their mothers. And I remember, Idris Hassan, who is so important to the Black woman's God in terms of making sure that it exists. Both Idris Hassan and Ayanna Ivory are just important figures to the Black woman's God and making it happen.
I gotta call
so Idris had lost her mother some years ago, and she talked about the challenges of living after her mother had passed, and that the Black woman's God was really important to her being able to get back into the world through the act of creating. And so Ayanna Ivory's mother passed away last year, the end of last year, and Tracy Brown, who's been one of the artists in the Black woman's God since 2013, and then I've also been very supportive in helping us acquire grants over the last couple of years. Her mother passed away, and so I said, well, what could I do to bring them back into the project, because I know when you have a passing like that, it's hard to create. And so I said, well, let's center around motherhood. Let's center around ways in which we can honor our mothers, recognize their values, but also understand their complexities and the ways in which they may not always be able to show up in the ways that we desire.
That's right.
But they gave birth to us and created the possibility for us to become full and complete human beings.
Yeah, become bigger and fuller, complete human beings through their sacrifice. Yeah,
absolutely.
I love how you tap into not only the, just the personal relationships, but it's also a broader kind of thing happening with everyone, with their mothers, motherhood, and women, just where we are in society, and how it's sort of one of these things that are really necessary, but all at the same time don't get the same type of support or acknowledgement, and so when you lose your mother, or you're like, oh my God, that was my whole life. So that's going to be very powerful.
So I'm really excited about it, and look forward to creating workshops around motherhood and healing. And I ran into one sister the other day, and she said, we're doing this work on womb healing, mother womb healing. And I went, that's what the project is about. That's what the exhibition will be about this year. And so
I have a young woman who's here. She does she calls them vajacials, but she does like womb care. And I didn't like the women that come in, just women who have suffered from sexual abuse and other types of abuse, or also just physical. That is central to their healing, the moving the energy out and paying attention to it. And, you don't really talk about that. I never, it was only a focus on my menses, but nothing else in terms of any conversations that I had with my mom about that part of my body and how it needed to be nurtured. So
there was really only one woman who was at the forefront of womb healing. That was Queen Afua, right? And so now there's all these
springing
subsets of Queen Afuas who are understanding the importance of womb care, womb healing, and the ways that, and all women have suffer some kind of trauma around their sexuality. I mean, it's almost unavoidable in this country. So I'm really looking forward to what can transpire this year through this
what will come out of it,
self-care
interpretation. And for mothers who don't have a great relationship, or women who don't have a great relationship with their mothers.
Yeah, it's definitely about that. It's definitely I mean, my mom is 90 years old and she's feisty, and I love that, because that means that she has a lot of strength left in her. But I've had she's going through this period of time, and I think it might be partially dementia, but she's looking for an opportunity to constantly fight with me. Start a fight. I just want to come over and love her.
Right.
And so just that's very painful for me, even though I can, laugh about it on a certain level. And so I know I'm not the only one that's struggling with that.
Mm-hmm.
There's all kinds
too,
of,
also,
right?
It's one of those things too, no matter what you do, they'll find a reason. So it just becomes this like, okay. And it's such a hard place to be in, because you want to be there. You want to see your mother and spend time. But then when you get there, you're drained.
Absolutely, because it's a fight just to get there, because you're gonna have, there's a possibility for a fight once you're there.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And so what I'm trying to do with her is, work is through, show her how I'm building the tree, the ancestry, these various trees, and she's giving me information, which I'm really excited about.
That's important.
Yes.
Giving you information, asking questions.
Yes.
Yeah, I often think about the generation of grandmothers and mothers who are here who could pass down certain information. Like if you have a grandmother or older Black woman who's over 80 years old still in your life, sit her down, ask her questions, find out names, dates, get the family story. That's very, very important. They have knowledge.
More important than the kind of false history that students are getting in school. So
yes, definitely. So we have the Black Women is God in August. We'll know dates, and the theme is motherhood.
Yes.
And then we're also going to talk about having a genealogy episode. I would love to have and see what we could do creatively around that. Because me, give me an idea. I'm going to be like, I shot this video and we could do this and we could do that and we could do this. So I'm excited about that. I am excited.
I would love to get them on the show.
Oh gosh. And whatever, call to action, we can get more people, encouraged to look up their genealogy and their DNA. And just, there's some fantastic stories coming out of that, and just how I'm so in awe of the fact that our ancestors can still reach us, can still communicate with us, despite all of the things that were removed for them to make that connection.
Yes.
Whether it's changing their names, getting rid of documents, severing our whole history, and still.
Right.
I mean, just imagine if we could know everything, but there's still things that are coming through.
There's a lot of information there. I mean, I totally get that there's that component in the community where people are saying, well, I'm not giving up my sacred spit because I don't know what the government's going to do with it. And then I'll say, the government already has they have your blood, they have your saliva, and you've gone to the hospital at some point.
But the African ancestry does not. They don't do that. They don't share your information. If there's some other ones, if you read, you got to read the fine print also, if you're really worried about that. But the African ancestry, they don't do that. And they have a larger database, from what I'm told.
It's very, very powerful. I mean, I've found a grandfather that was a part of the Civil War. I found a relative that was a part of the Black Freedmen's Bureau. So these are things you read about, and then that recognition of that history becomes palatable because it's connected to your own bloodline. You get to see it. And so it's being able to see that documentation.
I know I watch Finding Your Roots all the time with Henry Louis Gates, and I think the episode with Questlove, there was another one with Angela Davis that it was just very powerful. And then they present the book at the end with the family tree, and everyone always says when you see it, like
Yeah.
it just does something. It does something to you.
And you start to recognize too that, there's a blood consciousness that runs through, just following Tarika Lewis's journey and seeing the extent to which there's been revolutionary figures
throughout, and the same spirit coming through. Yeah,
constantly fighting, constantly being the first, constantly being pioneers. It's a very powerful thing. So you realize that you're not alone, and that what's compelling you is not your spirit in of itself.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know what's compelling me and my spirit, and that is the Black Women is God coming up in August. I can't wait to collaborate with you on that. I know we got some things coming up.
We got some stuff happening.
I cannot wait.
Exciting.
Yes, I cannot wait. Well, I thank y'all for joining us. Thank you, Karen. It was so good to have you and coming into my space and the Venus Lounge. We will see you guys next week here Thursday at 7:00 on Facebook. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at It's the Venus Lounge, and on YouTube at It's the Venus Lounge Podcast, and then on KPFA Radio at Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch TV, and KPFA 94.1 on Facebook and Instagram. And I will see you guys next week. Treat each other well, give somebody a hug, and we'll see you again. Bye-bye. Oh.